Hey everyone, Effie here. Today I'm going to do a little bit of watercoloring with our Bonny Bloom stamp set. I'm using this Canson watercolor paper. It's a new paper pad that I picked up at Walmart and I just wanted to try it out. I'm not the biggest fan of it. I like the original Canson XL pad that I used to use in my old videos, but I'm going to try it with some Ken Oliver color bursts. I may like it better with those paints. Today I use Shinhan. I think that's how you pronounce it. It is actually a Korean paint brand. I bought the watercolor paints from Korea a few years ago, and I wanted to use what I have in my stash just to start using what I have. And at the end of this video, you'll see the final result. Let me know if you like it. Let's get on with this project. I started off by stamping the beautiful floral cluster from our Bonny Bloom's 4x6 inch photopolymer set with Versamark ink onto the watercolor paper, and then I white heat embossed the image, and I used my Misty tool with our 6x7 inch grip mat, which I placed inside the Misty to hold the watercolor paper while I stamped it with the embossing ink. Now this is my watercolor paint pan that I created with the paint tubes that I bought from Korea. So I sprayed some clean water onto my desk surface. It's actually a silicone sheet that I have protecting my desk, so don't worry, I'm not spraying directly on my desk. This is a silicone sheet that I have. So I sprayed some clean water onto my desk, and then I'm using two brushes to do some wet and wet watercoloring. I used my thicker water brush to apply the clean water to my paper over the floral image, and then I use my fine tip water brush, dip that into some Opera Rose watercolor paint, and then I added that nice bright pink to the inner portions of my floral petals. And then after I've dropped in the paint, I use this wider set brush to blend that color out. And I'm just going to use the same technique of dropping in color and then blending the color out with the two brushes. I'm going to continue doing this to build up the color within the petals. And I'm just going to speed up the video so you guys are not sitting here for an entire hour. But I'm placing my base color down of that Opera Rose, and later I will add some brighter red to the same areas. I'm not going to give you guys the exact colors that I use, just because whatever bright pinks that you have in your stash, use those later. See here, I'm going in with a brighter red. It's not the same Opera Rose that I use. I don't even remember which red this was, but it doesn't have to be specific. When you guys are painting, you guys don't need the same exact products that I'm using, with the exception of the stamp. But whatever paints that you have in your stash, just use a nice bright pink and then a nice bright red to create your two-tone petals. Try not to fixate on using the same exact products. You don't have to do that. Just try using what you have in your stash and experiment with that. You can see that I'm leaving some lighter space towards the end of the petals, and I'm going to try to do that for each of the petals, even the really narrow petals towards the center of the floral. Later, I am going to go in with a warmer tone yellow and kind of fill in some of those lighter areas to turn this floral into a three-toned rose. And I'm going to apply the same painting technique to the other two florals in this beautiful cluster. So you can see I'm building up color towards the inner portions of all of my petals. When the paint completely dries, it's not as dark as I would like. So I do go in with some color pencils to add some more contrast to my petals, but you'll see that later on. So here you can see I'm placing my base color onto the anemone on the right portion of my cluster, and I'm just using the same technique, the wet and wet technique. Wet the paper first and drop in pigment towards the center or the inner portions of the petals, and then blend that color out to the edges of the petals. So you can see I have a nice base color. I think this is the first time I'm using these paints on camera for you guys. I don't think I've ever used them on a card making video. I usually use my Ken Oliver color bursts, which are just so pigmented and so vibrant. And I think I would have achieved the results that I was looking for if I had just used the color burst. But I am happy with the final results of this paint with the paper. I think that I was just experimenting for today's card. When I originally set out to paint this floral cluster today, I wasn't going to do it on camera. I was just going to paint and just experiment. but I decided, you know what, let me turn on the camera and just start recording, and why not turn it into a finished card. And I'm going to try to use more of the paints that I have in my stash. I love my Ken Oliver color bursts, but I have so many other different watercolors that I bought because we are collectors as crafters. So in future watercoloring videos, I will try to use some of the other paints that I have. And let me know in the comments, do you have other supplies that you hoard and that you don't use? I know that I do, and I'm pretty sure that a lot of you guys do that too. But I'm trying to craft more these days because it's not show season right now. I have maybe about another month off, so I have some time to devote to my crafting desk so I can bring you guys some more crafting videos, and I'm trying to vary it up a little bit. So I'm gonna upload more, but I want to make sure that my cards are a little bit different so that you guys don't get bored. Now I'm almost done painting the foliage of my clusters. I used 3 shades of green watercolor paints. I used a lighter green for the base, and then I kind of went in with a mid-tone green, and then I decided I needed some more darker tones inside the leaves, so I went in with a nice dark green towards the inner portions of the foliage. I used yellowish, it's kind of a yellow ochre paint for the berries. And then now you can see I'm going in with a red color pencil towards the inner portions of my floral petals, and then with an orange color pencil on the berries to give the berries a little bit of shading or shadowing. Then I go back in with the red color pencil to add deeper shading to the petals. And you want that darker color to be towards the innermost portion of the petals because that's where you have less light. So if there's less light, the color is going to be a little bit darker, and this way we get some nice depth or the illusion of depth. So here I'm adding some yellow to the lighter portions of my petals. So now we have a more tri-toned petal for each of my florals. And now my coloring is complete, and I'm going to use the coordinating die to die cut this beautiful floral cluster. And a little surprise for today's video, I'm going to show you a Coverplate die that we're going to be releasing in addition to other Coverplate die designs, and also the coordinating dies for the floral stencils from our winter flash release. So here is a new die that I was just talking about, and then this is what the die cut looks like onto white cardstock, and this is an A2 panel here, really gorgeous and really detailed. This is going to be released on Tuesday, December 12th with our other new Coverplate die, so stay tuned, guys. So I die cut this onto white cardstock, and then I adhered it onto a white card base. Then I popped up our Bonny Blooms cluster with some dimensional foam tape, then trimmed off the excess, and then I used the excess pieces, or what I could salvage from the trimmed off pieces, and then I die cut the sentiment, which is from our script word dies bundle. It has the detailed word die plus the shadow die cut, and then I popped this hug sentiment up, and then the sending love and sentiment is from our heartfelt blossom stamp set. And then lastly, I finished our card by adding some of our light purple opaque rhinestones, and my card is now complete. I hope you guys enjoyed today's tutorial. If you haven't done so already, be sure to like the video and subscribe to our channel because I'll be updating it more regularly. So thanks for watching, guys. I will see you next time. Bye.